Hey guys, I'm back. If you've been following along, you know that I've been working on transforming my basement into my new art studio over the past few weeks or months, depending on how you look at it. And it's been a really long process, extremely long, but I've been making really good progress at the same time. So that's good. And obviously, if you're new here, you have no idea what I'm talking about or what I've been through. So you might want to go and check it out and then come back. So today we are going to be continuing where I left off last time. And if you remember, I had started work on the stairway. I had kind of prepped everything, sanded everything down, added the trim, added some extra wood elements, and primed the stairs. And I was just starting to lay down some tape on the walls to get started with the design. And essentially, I had no real idea kind of what I was doing, what it was going to look like. And that pretty much followed me through to the very end of this process. But despite that, the end result turned out so good. So definitely make sure you stay tuned in the video and see the final product of the stairway. So let's stop wasting time and let's just get to the good part. So having laid out the random tape pattern, it was finally time to add some color to these boring white walls. I've been dying to get to this part. So I had all these sample paints from some projects that I've done in the past. So rather than buying new paint, I decided to use all of those, and I had so many different colors to choose from. So I just kind of randomly started picking colors and spots to paint until the whole wall was filled. And that took some time. So while I was waiting for all of that to dry, I shifted my attention to the handrail. So I removed all of the screws and fixtures and I decided to paint those black, of course. I probably did about 2 or 3 coats of spray paint on those. And then since I had already filled in the spaces and the gaps, sanded it down and primed it, I just went in with a coat of black paint on the actual handrail. And then once that was dry, I just coated it with black spray paint on top just because I liked the finish a little bit better. And it was done. So now back to the stairway wall. Now that that was dry, it was time for one of the most satisfying parts, removing the tape. But that was only the first layer, so right away I went right back in and put down some more tape to create the second layer. Again, just completely random. I would just kind of stand there and just decide what felt right where and where I wanted to add something else. Then I went in with some new colors and same as before, just randomly picked colors and where I wanted them to go. This whole process was actually quite freeing because I'm usually a bit more methodical when it comes to choosing colors and their placement and really just having a plan laid out before I start creating just about anything. But this was the complete opposite and I actually really enjoyed it, just kind of going with the flow. And then once that layer was dry, it was of course time to remove some more tape. I honestly used so much tape throughout this project, like probably more than 10 rolls of tape. I then decided to paint the outer trim border around the stairs, whatever that's called, black. Just because I love black and I thought it would tie in with the rest of the project really nicely. And once that was done, I was pretty happy with the first 2 layers, so it was time to start getting into some more detail. This was the first area that I started, and let's just say it took a lot of patience. I wanted to create a checkerboard pattern, so first I added in the vertical columns, and then I layered on the horizontal rows, which was easy enough. But then I also had to go back in and cut out each individual square where the tape overlapped with my little X-Acto knife, and that took me a very long time. Then I just kind of went along the wall, finding different places where I wanted to add some extra shapes or patterns. And once I was content, I went in and painted them again. Just random colors. So I just went back and forth between the top of the stairs, the bottom of the stairs, the 2 side walls, the ceiling. Watching this part back, it was giving off very chaotic and like disheveled energy because I was literally all over the place. And then of course, more tape removal. And yes, I also added in another checkerboard pattern down here, as if the first one didn't already break me. But even worse than adding the tape was removing the tape. It was such a pain to remove, but it was so worth it. And then it was time for the final layer. This is when I low-key thought I may have lost my mind. Because why? But it honestly just added that extra little and that just finished off the wall. So yeah, I just chose a couple of spots where I wanted to add in some random patterns just because it felt right to do. This spot was definitely my favorite. I did sketch it out first because I didn't want to risk messing it up. In all of the other ones, I just kind of randomly went in, but this one I feel like was a little bit more methodical. But yeah, I'm in love with this corner. And of course, I needed a little splatter, of course. Some final touch-ups, and then just cleaning up the edges here, and done. Well, just done with the walls. Now I could finally get back to and finish up the stairs. So first I taped off all of the edges and then started painting in the trim and also the front side of the steps. I initially tossed around the idea of doing some kind of design or like color blocking each step in a different color, but in the end I decided that there was definitely enough going on the actual walls so I could keep these clean and white. Whether I change my mind on that later, we'll see, but for right now I am happy with just the white. Once all of that was dry, I then taped off all the trim and painted the top of the steps black. No real rationale here, but if you haven't realized by now, I just like black. I like the way it looked, so that's what I went with. Now that the stairs were done, I could finally put back up the handrail. It was definitely way more difficult putting this thing back up than it was taking it down, especially trying to do it on my own, but with some minor adjustments, I was able to get it up successfully, and it really tied in the whole space. For one last final finishing touch, I also added in some LEDs across the ceiling. As you had seen, the walls were previously all white, which was really bright when you were coming down the stairs, but now the colors kind of darken the space a little bit, and I only have a light at the bottom of the step. So I got these motion censored LEDs, so as soon as you begin coming down the stairs, it will brighten up the stairway, so that one, you can see all the work I did, and two, you don't fall down the stairs. And then finally, I just had to remove the tape from the stairs and it was finished. So here it is, the culmination of this extremely random, chaotic, but truly satisfying project. Here's a closer look for you guys. It's really hard to get everything in one kind of shot, but hopefully this will cut it. You might be thinking that this is a lot, and it is. The stairway probably took me over 30 plus hours across like 14 days, but I don't regret one single second of it. Honestly, I could not be happier with it. Just the colors and the vibrancy is everything, and it just makes me so happy every time I open my basement door, which is exactly what I wanted. So it will definitely keep me inspired and motivated to come into my new studio and create. But now finally the doors are done, the stairway is done, so I can finally unpack all of my art stuff that I've just been sitting in boxes for I don't even know how long, and just set up the rest of the studio space. I'm so excited, I can't even contain it. So I should probably go get started on that right now. Okay, bye. Oh, and of course, make sure you like and comment below. Let me know your thoughts on the stairway. Is it too much or is it just enough? I think it's perfect, but let me know what you think about it, and also be sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss my next video. Okay, for real. Bye, guys.